Hi, I'd like to introduce Brown Boy Chronicles podcast for brown boys. I'm telling our story, just how we relate to the world, our struggle, our come up, and our life.
Our struggle.
Yo, are you guys gonna teach your kids Punjabi / Telugu / Hindi, or are you guys just gonna let the culture fade away?
That's rough.
No,
I mean, yo, that's what's gonna happen. Like,
I was thinking about this.
Pass this shit along. Like, I mean, look at how we are right now. We're already like on the more side of like being like more spiritual and like not as much religious. Like, yeah, like whatever, we speak our language, but like how often do we speak our language? Like, I mean, you look at it like 1-2 generations. If you don't make it a priority, that shit is gonna fade away.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I was like thinking about this. Me and my cousin, she's learning how to read and write Punjabi again too, and I couldn't because of the boot camp at the time. But I'm gonna start pretty soon to do that shit and like.
Yeah,
and I
think when I have kids, I'm gonna like take Punjabi classes with them. Like, I'm in the classroom.
That honestly would be a good like bonding experience too. I think like I say I want to preserve it and like try to teach them Punjabi, but I myself don't do enough as it is now. So like I wonder if that'll change as I grow older. Like, well, now that I think about it, I think it's very valuable, especially in US, where granted our podcast name is Brown Boy. You have this like cultural home to go to. So I want to preserve that, just like have like a home for my kids to go to on the cultural side of things. So at least I say that now. I don't know if that'll like stick with me as I grow older and life takes me, and then I've
actually thought about a lot of this stuff too. I even thought about like, you pretend if you don't marry a brown girl, right? If you marry someone else like in a different religion, how would you handle that situation too? Like pretend you marry someone that's like Christian or something. I would definitely do it to where it's like you get both cultures. I wouldn't force like my kids to do like one culture or the other.
I think it'll be half-assed if I were to marry someone who wasn't Punjabi. I think we'll
What
both
if she was like really about your culture? Because like I've seen like a lot of white women marry like brown guys, and they like truly like adapt the culture and like are just like enthusiastic about it, and like they love it. They like the dishes. They like make an active effort to like also like learn.
Would you force your wife to do that, to like assimilate to your culture?
I mean, if she didn't want to, like, probably would not. I mean, if you love the person, like, I feel like that should be the number one priority. And,
yeah. So, okay. Certified.
I mean, I guess it's I mean, it's like where you stand, like in terms of like your relationship and like what you want, like what's more priority. Is like preserving the culture more of a priority than like being a happy household. And then, I mean, you got to figure that out on yourself. You guys probably I can speak more on this topic because I'm not in this situation.
Generally.
Is your fiance also Punjabi? And like,
if she's sick Punjabi, we're like, it's the same.
Oh, that's easy.
The reason why I was saying it's going to be half-assed is like we have my culture, she has her culture. We'll try to, do a bit of both. But at the end of the day, everything is time. It's all time sensitive. You really don't have enough time to do everything in both of the cultures.
You could do every Sunday, go to a different church, right? Pretend it's
I would let
Christian.
the kids choose. Yeah, I mean, like, let them, like, parts go where they want to go. I mean, like, even the Godwa right now, like, in Pittsburgh, right? I mean, there's, like, maybe 1 or 2 families, but, like, they're mixed families, and they come. And, like, these kids are, like, out here, like, blending in, like, no issue. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like they have smiles on their faces. Like, I feel like they enjoy being there. They enjoy like eating langar. They enjoy doing like seva. They enjoy like the whole cultural aspect of it and like the routine. And, I mean, yeah, I don't know if they're also going to like church and stuff too, but when I see them, I feel like they like it.
Plus, I feel like it's your responsibility as a parent. Like, pretend you do have like, what are those relationships called when it's 2 different religions? When you have
interracial?
Yeah. When you have one of those interracial is like different races, though. You could still have the same religion. I don't know what it's called for different religions.
Interreligion.
Okay. It might be, yo. It might be. But yeah, when you have this type of relationships, I feel like it's your responsibility as a parent to expose them to both cultures and let them decide when they're older what they kind of identify with.
Called interfaith.
Oh, interfaith. Yeah. Okay. Interreligion.
Yeah, we create.
Yeah, no, for sure. I feel like if you do it right, those kids end up being some of the most like empathetic people because they're coming from 2 different worlds. They go through their own like what's called not personality complex. It's called I don't know, like they're trying to find their identity, identity crisis. They go through that, so they're more understanding when other people are going through theirs because their situation is tough. But it's all on the parents, man. Like if you choose to let one go, obviously the other culture is going to take over.
Do you think it also be like negative though? Like, what if the child feels like they need to like appeal more to like one than the other because like, oh, like they want to connect more with their father and he may be brown, or like they may want to connect with their like mother and she may be Christian.
I mean, I'm sure it would. If anything, they'd just be more confused. But it comes back to that whole thing that we were discussing with like religion, right? Like they have to kind of go find it for themselves, like when they like leave the household, right? So like, I mean, after they, like, I got a couple mixed friends, and like, yeah, I mean, most of them are not brown leaning, like they kind of stick with Americanized, like popular, similar to their white friend cultures than they do for the brown cultures. But I mean, later on in life, it might just come back around to them and say, okay, well, you're suppressing half of your identity. Maybe you should go tap back into that. But it's all like case by case. Like you got to be really invested in learning about it. But I mean, now you see all these people doing like 23andMe's and stuff. So people are more interested to find out like where they come from and stuff. But I mean, that's obviously a different scenario.
I think it's just ease of access. I think anything that comes to America comes to die only because we can't.
Wait, I don't even know.
No, literally, dog. Like,
what do you mean by that?
like as much as we say America is like a melting pot, most of us, it sounds very like cynical, but as we grow older, I feel like I have less time to do certain things, and eventually, like I guess it goes back to priority. When I think about my future, like having kids and family and the free time I have, because everything is just time based. There's only 12 hours in the day. Like how much can I segment to like dedicate this on Sunday for this, and as much
there's
as
more than 12 hours in the day. There's a good 16,
There's 16 hours in the day. There's 12 hours to like actually like what, bro? You need 8 hours of sleep.
all I'm saying is like maybe it's just because we're in our 20s right now and I'm not 30 and my whole perception of this will change. It just seems right now everything is more so be productive, pre-productive, and it's not about like everything is so money related, at least what I see from like 20-year-olds now. So culture and cultural things always seem like a step below that, and that's what I mean. The way the world is heading, everything is about money, especially in America. And when money is like the main thing, I think culture just comes here to die, and it's on you as like a parent to do it. I acknowledge that, but
I think your priorities are just different right now. That's why
yeah, that's what I'm thinking
and plus,
too.
you've never had like a serious relationship either. Never. I don't think you've ever. Actually, no, you have.
No. I mean, I just think even in a relationship, I don't think culture was like the thing that
Yeah.
actually I take that back because right now I only like brown girls only because I wanna stay
Yeah.
within the culture. So
For me, I
Yes,
feel
it
like
does.
that was like always like underlying because like like I don't know, like you can't connect the same way you can connect with like a brown chick than with like a white chick. I mean, it also depends on your background. If you're whitewashed and you're coming up like that, then yeah, you're gonna connect with like a person that's white no matter what. But I feel like also
Actually-
like we're pretty significantly brown, and I feel like like I want to be able to like talk about like music. I want to be able to like relate about like these inside things about our culture. Like you have these like similarities and commonalities that you can.
See, I kind of disagree with that, Harvey. Like, okay, besides white people, I feel like you can relate to, at least for brown people, you can relate to any other culture. Like, if you had a Spanish girlfriend or if you had a, black girlfriend or anything, you kind of come from, like, the same roots of, like, assimilating into American culture. Like, it doesn't have to be brown person or brown girl or whatever,
Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like all the stereotypes, I mean, all those subcultures also have like their own stereotypes. And then our culture also has like our own stereotypes. And like, yeah, I feel like there's like crossover there for sure. But
no, I agree exactly. I agree with you like 100%. Like I think those families with like the immigrant kids, they definitely are able to relate a lot more. A lot of my friends now who are first gen, not just Indian kids, like we got a lot more in common at the core. Obviously the cultures are different, but I think in a scenario where the kid is mixed between two first generation kids, like with immigrant families, I think that will be much more easy to retain the culture.
I also think we're pretty lucky to be first gen, kind of experience both. Like I wonder like what other, like nowadays kids like definitely are different, I feel like, compared to what we are.
if you go generation to generation, it gets lost. So like right now, since like I mean I was born in India, came here, you guys were, first gen, you were born here, so you're kind of close to the culture only because like our parents are they didn't have anything whitewashing them.
Yeah.
Like their core was developed around everything that was brown. Where now, you guys, like our core isn't just brown. And yes, you can say it's a melting pot, but then how do you kind of put the brown on a pedestal?
You kind of lost me there.
Yeah, you
say that again?
yeah.
So like all of us are getting most of our influence from like our parents because they're very direct with like, that's like the only thing they truly know. At least from my case. As like I have kids, I'll probably give them, some semblance of like probably white influences, black influence, brown influences for sure. And then downstream, like they are probably going to be influenced by what they are and not necessarily directly brown first. It might be, like a mix of what I'm giving them, and then they'll have a new mix of what they are. And essentially we are saying melting pot, but then it becomes like nothing because nothing of I don't know, I'm not making any sense.
Yo,
But
you lost me
Right,
so much.
right, yeah.
No, that now I got that now. He's pretty much saying like things are just like it's like you have like everything is gonna become like so bland overall because like right now, yeah, we have a direct connection with our parents. They're like brown and like we're the first like whatever. So like we are taught, and then like American culture has slowly fused into us. And now you go from like us having kids, now we are like also Americanized, and then and also like other influences also in our cultures like African American, Spanish, whatever, and then you're gonna like pass that combination. Or like before it was just straight brown, and then like our environment came in, so now you have like brown and white from the very beginning, like the
Yeah,
origin.
no, I get
and
what
now
you're
you have like different environment coming in on those kids, and so like slowly like that thing's just all gonna like mix and whatever, and then just like
I disagree with that because it's like it's a thing where we like it's basically going back to that traveling question, right? Different experiences, right? So if pretend you have this experiences being brown or experiences, in white culture, whatever, those will get passed down to your children. So your children's gonna gain like all those different type of experiences from you and stuff. It's not like you guys are thinking of it kind of like as a dilution, like it gets diluted down basically, and it becomes so bland. But I feel like it's gonna be the opposite, where it's like your kids experience so much shit, get exposed to different stuff, and basically they create their own identity based off of that.
I can see that too. I can see that
both
too.
perspectives. Yeah.
I see more dilution happening than the experiencing, and then they take in experiences and creating an identity around that. Because I feel like kids don't really know themselves that much. You only like start to figure yourself out like when you're in teenage and shit like that. And if it's already diluted, what makes you say the kid is want to go
but
back?
As a kid, you're just taking stuff in. So if you're taking stuff in from different cultures, you're getting a lot of experiences just from that.
What do you think the biggest factor is to allow culture to like stay alive? Like for me, like Punjabi culture, like we're so excited because I feel like your music plays like a huge factor for us. Like we really connect with the music, and I feel like that the music and like these new artists like EP7 and shit like that, it just makes you want to like be about the culture.
Social aspect, man. It's probably the social aspect where you can connect with other people. If you can't connect with other people, you can't really. If you can't talk about
like
stuff
you want to be included in it, so that's why it keeps your culture alive. And like what if like there's nothing to like keep that desire dies off?
Yeah,
like
I think it's basically trying to connect with people. Like we became friends because we have similar backgrounds and we have so much to talk about because we have like similar interests and stuff. So if you don't have those similar interests, kids won't want to like be a part of like a certain aspect of your culture or whatever. Like if you're from a different culture, they won't connect with it as much.
Assimilate.
All right, calm down. You're doing too much.
I don't know. Like I feel like it's hard to get concentration from dilution though. Like when I think about it, it's just like, yes, my kid is getting all those experiences, but how do you kind of hone into the concentration? Like whether it be like, oh, I am more leaning towards brown because my parents were like more brown. Like,
I feel like it's just like the social aspect. Like yo, Deej, okay, like give us your perspective because I feel like with Punjabi people, like we have bhangra, we have like our food, we have like our music. People that like are Punjabi, like they're proud, like they rep that shit, and they like we are Punjabi, right? Like they're very proud of it. What keeps like people like Hindus and like children of like Hindu South Indian, like is there anything that like keeps you guys like socially or like, culturally involved that like creates a desire for you to like be ingrained into the culture?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, man. Like, I think sometimes I identify more with like Bollywood movies and stuff than I do like South Indian music, movies, culture. Like, I don't know. Like, it's hard to say without sounding like a total asshole, but I'm one of those people who kind of avoided my culture for a while, and I still do. Like, I mean, I try not to as much, but I mean, like Harvey, KV, and Lucky, you guys are all like, you grew up together, right?
No.
Right? Like through like the Gurdwara? Oh, never mind. Okay, well.
That's just me and Harvey.
Yeah, Lucky and Harvey. And I met them in college.
Right. So I got a couple buddies too, like from my like neighborhood. We're all South Indian Brahmins and stuff. And like we always like knew that like I mean, it's a completely different culture than like up in North India and stuff. And we like knew that the stereotypes and like all the things that parents did like that annoyed us. I think it might just be me. I haven't found my interest in the culture yet, but I might not be putting enough effort into learning the South Indian culture. And like, I think, like what I said was like, I find North Indian culture more interesting. It's because it's more of like progressive, young. I don't know. I'm sure it's there for South Indian culture. Like, I just have not sought it out, you know?
It goes back to the question that we are talking about, like why Indian kids love like black music so much. And I think it's because when you think of Northern culture, it's the similarities is because that shit is seductive. Like it's just like, at least when I think about rap, it's all about confidence, dangerous lifestyle, just swagger and shit like that. That shit is seductive to like everyone, when they think about, at least for me, I think it's like very seductive. You get sucked into it. And I think the same is for like Punjabi culture. It's very seductive to like get into it because they see the confidence, they see the swagger, they want to feel that way. And we kind of have a platform to display that. Whereas Telugu and like all those other South Indian cultures, they're so like, I mean, you guys all have, you're Hindu, but like there's like the language barrier, and then I think there's like little intricacies, like little unique things from one Telugu to I don't know the Gujarati to whoever like language.
No. I don't think that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say is like you guys have like Bhangra, right? Like there's Bharatanatyam, there's Carnatic music. There's all that stuff is there for South Indian culture.
But it's like not as
my parents.
I feel
No. I mean, I don't think that's the right way to describe it at all. I think it's pretty refined craft, and I think what I've taken from, I mean, my parents made me do Carnatic singing for years and years and years. I quit when I was 18. I did singing and violin, and my parents made me do like all the shlokas and like learn Bhagavad Gita, all this stuff. But for me, like it's not like who I am now. Like I'm not interested in that stuff. I'm not even interested in Bhangra necessarily, like or any of that stuff. I mean, sometimes I throw on a Bollywood movie or Hindi music and stuff. I'm just saying that it's a different type of like art and culture that is formed from South India, but
like it hasn't escaped like the South Indian bubble. Because yeah, you guys definitely have your dances, you guys definitely have your culture, but like you guys have like kept it like to yourselves. Rest of the world hasn't seen it in a way.
So Deej, why do you think you relate to Punjabi culture more, or like what is it about that like Punjabi culture that you like kind of connect with a lot?
I think Harvey kind of touched on it, right? Like the South Indian craft, right? Like your parents kind of like forced you to learn it, like the music and the traditional dance, tabla, all that stuff. So like South Indian like arts and stuff has to be taught by like a teacher. I think like Punjabi stuff, like the music and the movies and all that stuff, it's very much hype based, which is good. Like it's more easily distributed and more easily received by the world people than South Indian music. I think you need to be like interested in it. You need to have an ear for it, and you got to be like a certain type of person to like appreciate it. And it's not as hype. It's not as like pop culturally known. So I don't even know much about Punjabi culture.
I was just like trying to understand like when you were saying that. At least I think what I would say was like I think a lot of our culture runs off energy. Like when we do Bhangra, it's like running on energy, and everyone has energy, and you can kind of feel that for those classical dances and Indian South Indian things. I really don't know what the fuck is going on because like I know they're telling a story, they're painting a picture, but I just don't know like what picture they're painting because I just don't know enough about it.
Right.
But when I watch Bhangra or like anyone like a white person watches Bhangra, they just see energy. They don't need to know like we're not like doing anything. We're literally just going off of energy, and maybe that's why it's easier for like people to connect with Punjabi culture more so than like South Asian culture, only because you don't need to like have a lot of like historic education.
I think we say that, but like there's definitely a lot of people that connect with Hindu culture and watch Bollywood movies and stuff like that too, like across the world. Like there's definitely
Bollywood's huge, but I mean I feel like we're speaking more on like the South Indian spectrum.
Yeah, I mean, personally, like, okay, that's a very good explanation for it. Like, it's the energy thing. It's like if you're going to a musical versus if you're going to a concert, right? Like, the people who go to musicals, they read up on the artist, they've listened to. I'd say, like, the South Indian arts are more classical, and the North Indian ones are, like, hype and more progressive, and they're more popular.
Is that, like, concerning within your culture, like, where then your generation isn't kind of...
No, I think it is a little bit concerning in the fact that, like, you shouldn't do, like, an art or a craft or something, or, like, a music or something, unless, like, you're actively going to put in the effort. I said the same thing about the podcast. We got to make this shit, like, 100% craft so that we're all invested, right? So if people are not doing that and they're forced into learning, like, the classical music, the classical dance, that culture will eventually get lost because people rebel and kind of push off against it. But I don't think it'll be as widely spread since it's not as, appealing to the masses.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's a bad thing though, because like I said, like your art might be more authentic. if you break it down, like someone who's a music aficionado will tell you, like it makes a lot more sense, and like the music theory behind it will make a lot more sense than a track that like probably, I'm not trying to throw shade, I haven't listened to AP Delon, like, but let's just say him, right? Like, I don't know if he's classically trained. Like, I don't know. I'd say that the art will remain in that part of India, but like it'll be very rich and like people will appreciate it. But like, I don't know if it'll pass on to the next generation and generation after that.
Yeah, I was just more so asking about the attraction, like for Telugu people or Tamil people. Or are you thinking it's just going to like branch off and it become its own little like thing? And like it'll still be the core, but then kids that are from Tamil or Telugu that are here, they might branch it off and kind of make their own thing. Or can you even branch it off?
I don't think you can branch it off and make it your own thing. I know the way I was like taught music. It's very much like a passed down skill. There are people who put in a solid effort. They appreciate it. They do it to make their parents happy. They enjoy it. I was not one of those people. Like I honestly did not have a good time doing it. And I felt like it was slightly like wasting my like free time, you know? This is not progressing my goals. This is not like pushing my interest at all. This is literally just something that I'm doing for my grandparents' sake. And I was like, that's not worth it. You know, like I'm miserable. You can see it on my face. I don't know. But I think that there are people who still put in a solid effort and like they have a good attitude about it and it stays with them. Like that skill doesn't go away. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think it is slightly concerning, but I think for personally, I got to go spend some more time like exploring like South Indian culture and like find it for myself, because right now I don't think I have an appreciation for it like I should. Mm-hmm. It sounds bad, but I mean, it's true.
I think that's fine. Like, I don't think you need to force it. Like now, I think where I want to get connected with our culture more, like kind of learn that just is coming, you know, innately, like it's coming from within. And I'm not forcing it or anything. I don't know, something just clicked in me and now I want to do it. It's not shitty for you to say if that's not your cup of tea, it's not your cup of tea. Maybe you'll come back to it and revisit it maybe 35 when, you know, something clicks in your brain.
You were forced to a point where like it created resentment and like, it just like, I mean, kids and like people with younger minds love to be rebels. So when you force them to do anything, they kind of want to go the other direction. It's just like the natural way. We're not forced in the situation of like listening to like Punjabi music. We truly from the bottom of our hearts like are passionate about it. And so it just makes it easier.
Thanks for tuning in. You can find us on YouTube and Spotify at Brown Boy Chronicles. Feel free to email us with any questions or topics you'd like us to discuss in future episodes. The email is brownboychronicles1@gmail.com. All right, see you next time.